even in the school. So we think about working in the school setting, and you're walking through a school hallway, you see so many characters. You get literally characters of people acting something that they're not, like living another person's life, a person that's going to be sagging, and then as soon as they get home, it's so many people that's coming to this place and not being who they are. When we think about identity, why do you think that people are most of it, and I know the social media thing go to it, but how is it, not even why, how is identity on campuses? How is that hurting our kids? Because even what I always say, you got to answer, who are you? Mm-hmm. That's a pivotal question. Who am I? And a lot of the kids aren't answering that. So how do you see the lack of identity hurting the kids when we're on those campuses?
I kind of think like nowadays it's kind of like when I went to college. I feel like when people go to college, it's like a fresh start to be whoever you want to be.
Yeah, for sure.
So when you're going into these schools nowadays and they getting away from their parents, they can be whoever they want to be. You know, if they want to be the bully, the class clown, like they can do whatever they want. And to your point with the teachers, they don't care.
Welcome world, welcome family to another episode of the EL2A Podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Gilmore Jr. I almost forgot my own name. I was thinking about something. I'm your host, Jamie Gilmore Jr. To right of me, we got the Rocket, Mr. E Rock, the high 7 years. How you feeling today, brother?
I'm all right, bro.
Having a good day. Good day today. Is a great, awesome day, right? It's awesome day because to the right of him, we got the Jizzle, Mr. KJ Kinsler, joining us on our, this is our Kut Different episode. I know you all know every month we do a Kut Different episode where we just talk about everything Kut Different. The only thing different about this episode, I'm still pretty clean on the casual day, but I'm not just fresh like I usually be. So I know y'all look, disappointed in me, but next month I'll be back to it, all right? But we do have the Jizzle with us today, all right? So the Jizzle is our newest staff member, team member, whatever you want to call it. He joined Kut Different. I think we just said, about 5 months ago. So it's going to be cool to hear from the experience of somebody that's new in this path of mentorship, and also the youngest statesman of the group. So he has different experience being at younger age towards our boys. So Jizzle, man, I'm glad to have you today, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You didn't really ask me how my day was.
That's what I was about to say.
Hey, it's been a good day though.
Good day, man.
Thanks for asking.
How was your day? Talk about it.
It was good.
What did you do today, Jizzle?
I went to Lake Ware, Horizon, Liberty. They was testing this morning. So I hit the gym in between.
Okay. What that looks like when you go to the school? What does that look like at Lake Ware, Horizon?
So first, walk into the school, greet the guidance people, the administration. Walk to my point of contact, and I pretty much call the boys down either individually or in a group session. And we meet, we chop it up, follow the curriculum, we play games, we have fun.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So one thing about mentoring or youth development. So everybody knows that the youth need help. I believe there's no person in the world that you can ask that won't say our youth need guidance, they need help. There's only a certain amount of people that answer the call. You know what I mean? And for yourself, you've been on our podcast before. You was in a different space in athletics. You were on that pathway of, do I still play football or do I do something different? Thinking about being where you are now, what made you answer the call to say yes to becoming a mentor?
I just, if you go back to my pod, I said, people coming back to my school in North Marion I took that to heart. I think highly of people who came back and gave back. So I always wanted to be that person who came back and gave back. And Kut Different had the platform and the capacity that I really wanted to do it in, because obviously I can give back at football. I could take you to the field, help you out there, but I think it's a little deeper than that. I think, it's a challenge out there in the school system, and I think that this is where I wanted to be, for sure.
Did you have a mentor growing up, like in your life?
My dad.
Your dad? So outside of your dad, you had no other like mentor that you could think of?
Nope.
So thinking about what we play, so what you do from day to day, and what we do for Kut Different, what would they have done for you when you was a young man?
Oh yeah, that would have been huge. Just because obviously I wanted to be a ball player all my life, but to see the things that, Mr. Roy, you guys do in the after school stuff like that, I probably wanted to be a doctors. Honestly,
Yeah.
like if I knew like what football do to your body and stuff, I would have seen astronauts or something. I probably would have chose something else. Honestly.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things. So exposure leads to access. That's the name of the podcast. You feel what I'm saying? So exposure leads to access. It came from that standpoint. Obviously, same thing. My background, being all you know in sports, that's all you chase. But then when you understand, there's literally a world. Like when people say you could be what you want to be, like that's literally a true thing. You just got to be introduced to it. And most people don't know. Like they say that, but you don't. What does that even mean? I only know these couple things, and I try to be what I see. You got to show me more so I can open up my my wing.
All I seen was y'all. The running back. All I see was y'all.
Yeah.
So LaTroy, Sean. I grew up watching y'all.
Yeah.
So of course I want to be a football player. So I ain't know no doctors for real.
Yeah, that's real. That's really real. Let's get into more into the role. What is the biggest surprise since you got into the role? What is that one thing you like just surprised you about the capacity of what you do?
God, dog. The biggest surprise, I would say that, the activity level of parents in their kids' life in school. I say that was my biggest surprise. It's like, my mama, I heard y'all got progress reports today. Where it's at. Pull it out the backpack. Kids getting away with doing little slick stuff that I feel like I never could get away with.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. I feel like that's the biggest surprise for me right now.
Yeah. And even seeing that. So because getting into the parent thing, you just mentioned the parents. Why? Because we work with parents as well. Why do you think that void is it? So for example, you had a mom that was on top of you. I had a mom that was on top of me. What is it about this generation of parents that you think that, and I think this as well, I'm not saying you think, I think that there's an increase of parents not doing what they're supposed to do. Where do you think that comes from?
Honestly, I believe that, I feel like times is kind of hard right now. And I feel like people are just super busy and that we putting education and checking up on our kids to the back burner. I feel like we so focused on our 9-to-5s that some of our kids get neglected.
Yeah.
I got mentees who, that's the case, right? So, people have to work, and I understand that, but this education thing is very serious. Every road you want to go to leads through the schoolhouse.
Yeah.
So like this is important. It's a priority.
Yeah. You can't reach what you don't relate to. So again, you can't reach what you don't relate to. In this work that we do, you understand that it's about relationship building. It's about meeting these kids where they at. We can't go into them and try to tell them something without connecting with them first. You have to connect with a young person first before you get something out of them, get them to move their feet. How do you go about relationship building with the boys?
So obviously I'm the baby of the team. So, that in itself is a blessing because I listen to the same music they listen to. I watch, I'm a little quirky. I watch anime and stuff like that. So some of the boys who are more not athletic and, I can relate to them. I'm also I just feel like I'm very versed in a lot of things. So, for example, me and Mr. Roy went out to Lake Ware one time and we had a boy talking about four-wheelers. I got a four-wheelers dirt bike. I'm into that stuff too. So for me, that was the way I could build that connection. I just go about it like that. I meet you where you at, like you said, whatever I find that you're interested in and I know something about it, there it is. I build a rapport right there with that.
Yeah. One thing I always say, our school system is like the Titanic in a sense of a ship that's going in a direction that is hard to turn it around. I think the relationship aspect of it is a key piece that's missing. I think teachers are overloaded with testing and they have to, when they get in there, they're thinking about how do I to get the results for the kids, that they miss a key piece, which is that relationship piece of it. So if there was a teacher that was watching this, what is something, an advice that you can give that teacher when it comes to just making that connection with that child, going that extra effort to just do more to connect, before they teach?
Yeah, I would say, just take that time in the beginning of the school year to really just fill out who you have in your classroom. You really got to try to figure out, I know that's a lot to say though, but you got to, find out what's popping nowadays and kind of like mold your classroom to that. Like I be seeing people go viral all the time for making like rap videos for their class session. Like you just got to be relatable, So that'll help your job out if you're very relatable to them.
Yeah. And to that point, I see that all the time. So I'll be watching little TikTok videos and little things that come online. And when you see those connections with those kids and those teachers, and you think about it, you think about this teacher just went the extra step. They put in an extra emphasis to get to this point, and now that they see the reward. So I totally agree with that. Just going the extra step. I think sometimes adding a little bit on your plate feel like a lot when you already got a lot on your plate. You know what I mean? So any addition, I get it. It feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulder. But that extra step, man, can really help you unload something. You don't see it, but that extra effort that you're going to give to that child is going to make something else easier. It's going to take another load off your plate that you may not be able to see. So Eddie, working in the with the schools, obviously empowerment program, and being a longer you've been in it for a while. Mm-hmm. So over this period of time, what's been that common thing, that common thread of where you've seen kids fall through the crack within the schools? Like,
yeah, I mean, just like he just said, as far as it's the work, the grades, falling behind, not, knowing how to read, not knowing that. So you have some that, with testing, you talk about testing, hey, you ready for the PM1, PM3 test? They're unaware, or they, lack of motivation. And then it's like, to KJ's point, like, okay, well, where's, your mom let you come to school, not hyped up, your parents that talk to you about it?
Yeah.
The other night, so Naya had a test. Her test was the day for reading. And she came in the room, or she came in the living room, and Naya was like, she said, Dad, I'm scared about tomorrow. I think she'd be, just sometimes I think she want that attention. But to your point, not having, because if I was busy, or if I didn't have the time to, if I didn't put emphasis on my kids or their education, then I would have been like, you'll do all right. Just, let it go by. She probably would have been, she could have had a thought in her head for real and went to school today and would have probably bombed the test. I'm pretty sure she did good. But in that moment, I think I was on my computer. I stopped and I prayed with her. Once we finished, she was like, thank you, Dad. So, I believe there are a lot of parents, again, to KJ's point, that may be so caught up in doing what they do in their everyday lives, or their friends, all the extracurricular things, that they don't put that time into their kids' education. And then, so it's almost like you're asking somebody else to take care of your child. But we all know it starts at home. Yeah. So I feel like that's really one of the biggest problems.
Sure. Education ends and begins at home, always. One of the craziest things I heard, and still to this day, when they said that you could determine if a kid's going to be successful by their third grade reading level. Mm-hmm. To me, that was one of the craziest things I ever heard. So I was like, so you're deeming a 9-year-old person, you're literally putting on their life that this one statistic is going to deem that they're going to be not going to be successful. And obviously, as a just a reactionary person, that will do that. But then when you start thinking about it, they say up to third grade, you learn to read. After third grade, you read to learn. And if you can't read, you can't learn. So it makes sense. Even now, I got statistics that say only 30% of Black boys in America read at grade level by fourth grade. So only 30% of Black boys in America read at grade level by fourth grade. When you hear that, how does that make you feel when you hear that? Just
for starters, shout out to rest in peace to one of my teacher. My third grade teacher name was Miss Fleming, mm-hmm. And I transferred schools, and like within the first week, she would get me tested for gifted, and I really appreciate that. I really appreciated her at the time. We had a real good bond, and I think she might have been like one of the only Black teachers in the school too. So unfortunately, she passed away of cancer about 4 years ago, but stuff like that. She went that extra mile to find out who I was. Yeah. She pushed me, tested my abilities, and look, hey, our testimony to that.
Before you even answer that question though, the crazy thing about what you just said, one of my only, and the one that I remember, my third grade teacher was a Black woman, Miss Davis, and she passed away too. I think it was a sickness too. I don't know what it was, but that's crazy. But to your point, and another crazy thing, so it's crazy how I can name to you all my elementary teachers right now, but I can't really remember my high school teachers. Mm-hmm. And that says a lot. You get what I'm saying? Because in elementary, they really are intentional about you and building a relationship with you. And as you get through the next levels of education, it becomes just the curriculum or the grades. and they take the relationship piece out of it. And I think we got to get back to that. But just to get back to answering the guy, how does that make you feel about the
it made me feel bad. You know, as a young black man, it's disappointing because, you know, I feel like you could pick up a book at home at an early age and you could pick up them skills early before you ever even get to school. And all you got to do is pick up a book, read a book a day. You know, and there's so many tools in place. Like, I remember being in school and having the reading test. Like, and we competed against each other to see who can read more books and stuff. Like, that's not cool nowadays. And we got to get back to that.
They say, well, not they say, I'll say like the system, the system doesn't need fixing, it needs like replacing. So when we think about the current educational system that we have, that's why we're working on a project like we're working on today. When you think about curriculum and things, even when we say a school to career pipeline, that's to put a person in a position to actually leave school, know who they are, know what they want to do, and know how to get from point A to point B. That's just what that is. They're not teaching. They're teaching you. They're giving you skills to go be an employee and get it yourself into a rat race when you're in the cycle. And you can repeat the cycle and you keep going until you give up and do something crazy to yourself or to somebody else. That's literally the cycle. That's why they talk about the school to prison pipeline. That's exactly what they is. And it also is statistics on how, specifically African-American males, how in this pipeline that they are through behavioral data, going to discipline, getting alternative places, that's putting them in the system as well. So you have to set a school to career pipeline that these kids can actually see, this is who I am, this is where I'm going, and this is how I get from point A to point B. That's especially at the core who I am and what, we want to do. For yourself, when you think about replacing the system, what are some things that needs to happen in a school setting for kids to be successful that's not happening today?
I think we got to go about getting rid of these isolated classes, because I heard somebody say, I'm not sure who said it, but these isolated classes kind of mimic prison, like it mimics being incarcerated. So you're isolated all day. Actually, it was Miss Brittany, Nolan's mom, said that, he was in isolated class and it kind of reminded like of prison. And I think we got to get away from that. We got to get away from throwing all these tags on these kids. And like you said, meet them where they're at. We have to take the time out to serve them, because that's what they're there for. Right? We're there to serve them and to make these kids better people. And that starts with the administration at these schools and the teachers.
And then you said it too. I mean, make it fun again. Right? Let's compete. And I think that's the reason why it's a lost art nowadays, where the kids don't want to read or they don't want to do certain things. So like with my son with Q, this man picked up he had a Chromebook. What you got a Chromebook for? So there's a math game on there. I've been sitting over there just hitting the thing, and they'll sit down. They're like, "Dad, you want to play?" But it's really a learning game. Like you got to know math real fast. So now I mess around, and I didn't understand. So he beat me. Yes, he did beat me. But I didn't understand it. But what the cool thing about it was, the way that he related was like, "Dad, I'm smarter than you." Even in that moment, he beat me on the game, and I didn't know what I was doing. But it felt good for me in that moment. It's like, okay, but he's learning. So if you're going to beat me, I'd rather you beat me this way, feeling for him at a younger age, thinking he's smarter than his dad. So now he's going to take that same energy into school when he's with other kids, or when a teacher give out a math problem, now he's just finding it out right away. So now you're making that fun. So we got to find a way, or they have to find a way to make those type of things fun. They ask us what make us so different, or why the kids love us so much, because we don't come with the same. We don't come at you playing. We don't come jumping down your throat. We really try to find ways to, what do you like? If it's something about a four-wheeler that I can, relate to you, and we can talk about reading, or we can talk about math, or something that helps you learn, let's talk about this four-wheeler that's going to help you get the information that you need. And I think it's so structured. I always, FCAT. Oh God. I just remember, some of the stories in there, you reading these demand writings and all these different tests that they were given. I can't relate to this. I don't want to read this. So it's like, if we give them something that they can relate to, something that's, I'm not going to say kid friendly, but something that the kids do on a day-to-day basis, and you put numbers and you put letters behind all that, whatever, how you want to put it, I'm pretty sure these kids will do better.
Yeah. Now the same thing, if even to the point with Q, but if a young person doesn't see, they don't see purpose, they'll chase pleasure. You get what I'm saying? That's the same thing. If a young person don't have direction, then it's easy for them to be distracted. And that's what most of our people, they don't see the direction. They don't know where they're going. the purpose in Q is I'm on this game, I'm better than my dad. Like he can see a further purpose that pushes him further to want more for himself. If I don't see that, then I just distress the looselessness of this world, the sex, the drugs, the violence, because that's easy, that's the distractions. But if I don't have a clear line of purpose and direction, then I'm gonna go this direction, and that's all I see. So when it comes to talking about distractions, and obviously social media is the first thing that comes to mind. But you've been closer to these young people ages. What other distractions that you're seeing out there that's keeping our young people distracted right now?
The inability to differentiate between, you know, the rap video and reality. And that's a big one for me, for sure. You know, I listen to YB, I listen to Young Boy, but I know the difference between what I do every day and what he do every day. Like, it's, come on, yeah, you know, it's honestly, man, it's really social media. You know, it's bad. You know, we was on live the other day, the KD draft, and I got people named like K4 Step of K and the, what?
Yeah. But they own our stuff. That was the crazy part. So even to that point, so I used to, before Jay came online, I used to be the one on our socials, and I would just follow the young people. Like if you were a young person, I just follow you. You know what I mean? I followed you. And after a while, you know, but I never would like go check their page. I'm just following. But after a while, I would get on and start going through our feed, and I'm like, boy, we follow all gangsters. Boy. We got gangsters. They had guns on their pages. I was like these kids, like, why would you even follow us? Like, why do you want? Well, first of all, why are you posting this?
Sean watching,
right? and he said it, and even that relationship, like these kids are literally telling on themselves, bro. They're putting themselves in position. Anything that goes on when these kids have to go, they pull up their social media. And they know this, and they're still doing it though.
Yeah.
But try to help me. What's the fascination with this? I get what you're saying, but what is the fascination with NBA YoungBoy? And not just to put him, any other rappers. Like why is it so hard to go to positive?
I think, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think that's just a status thing. I think everything right now in life is about status, and they feel like, you know, YB got all these girls in this video, this money, you know. I feel like they believe that he is a man of higher status. Yeah. When in reality, man, it's really not, man. He ain't good for YB. He got clean. You know, he just got off drugs. Good for YB, but, you know, that's not the case, man. That's not where we want to be as young black men. We want to be somewhere else, but they don't stay. It's easy access. Like, you can just get on YouTube and YB gonna be on your feed. For sure. You know, but if I get on YouTube, I'm not going to see no videos on how to become a doctor as a black man, you know, stuff like that. Or even in our community, we don't have a lot of black doctors. So it's like social media, man. He plastered everywhere. Right. It's bad.
But even with what you preferenced at the beginning, and so you're still thinking about it. Q, I think I told you, man, that boy listened to it. He told me today, it's funny. So we having a conversation. At the bus stop, he said, what's the man name? YNW Melly, whatever.
He love Melly.
Hey, look, he said he get out of prison today. I don't care, but it's don't even know. But what I will say is, I'm going back to the parents though, because even though I know he loves his music, we're still involved enough to tell him enough is enough. You know what I'm saying? And then we're able to give him that. All right, this is what's real, and this is what's not. And we went through the whole little thing with the ski mask. I mean, all the ball players there. Mr. Uncle Jamie laughing because I had to get on him during Christmas. It was cold. He wanted the ski mask, but I gave them the real, like, hey, look, this is what I see. I see all the little boys that want to be gangsters and all that. They're wearing these masks. We not even going to start that trend. I'm not even going to let you think that this is the way that you're going to go. So as a parent, as an adult, even as a teacher, because teachers can play the same role. And I get, we're not asking the schools to be the parents for the teachers, but when y'all say go that extra mile, if you see little JoJo going the wrong way and you know his parents not doing or they're not capable of doing or being that positive person in their life, step in and say something. So again, I told him right away, bro, if you ain't playing football, that's not on your head. All that stuff on social media, if I sit next to him and I hear something that's crazy, and nah, bro, we got to swipe up fast or go to something else, you know what I'm saying? But again, I think that has a lot to do with it because you don't have parents the parents listening to the stuff with their kids right next to them. So if my mom gonna let me do it, then it's okay. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what's sending these kids, making them think that that's cool because mom and dad think it's cool.
So it's identity crisis too. I think a lot of that, you lose yourself in all that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you're already at a pivotal age when you're trying to figure out who you are, and after you're feeding yourself with so much outside, information, and you're not looking within. Now you're struggling to hold court. Now you putting a little bit of NBA in, you putting all these things in, you're trying to create a player like we don't, like it's a video game, but not knowing that God put you here for a reason and you got your own purpose for this world. Even in the school. So we think about working in the school setting, and you're walking through a school hallway, you see so many characters. You get literally characters of people acting something that they're not, like living another person's life, a person that's going to be sagging, and then as soon as they get home, it's so many people that's coming to this place and not being who they are. When we think about identity, why do you think that people are most of it, and I know the social media thing go to it, but how is it, not even why, how is identity on campuses? How is that hurting our kids? Because even what I say, I always say, you got to answer, who are you? Mm-hmm. That's a pivotal question. Who am I? And a lot of the kids aren't answering that. So how do you see the lack of identity hurting the kids when we're on those campuses?
I kind of think like nowadays it's kind of like when I went to college. I feel like when people go to college, it's like a fresh start to be whoever you want to be.
Yeah, for sure.
So when you're going into these schools nowadays and they getting away from their parents, they can be whoever they want to be. If they want to be the bully, the class clown, like they can do whatever they want to do. And to your point with the teachers, they don't care. They not taking that extra stuff no more. They fed up with it, And it's just, kids don't have that integrity factor of, doing good outside of your parents' view. So they get to school and just be whoever, 1900 Rugrat, whoever they want to be.
Yeah. I'm about to say, and then, so again, so you do have the ones, and we see this a lot on the campuses. You do have the ones that, okay, they come from an environment where it's not structured, or they don't have that positive male or even positive female in their life. So they're coming off survival to school. I got to be here until age 15. At age 15, I don't got to come back no more. But up until age 15, and we know by the time these boys get to 7th, 8th grade, if they haven't had the right structure, the right upbringing, that's who they're going to be most of the time. So but then on the other side of it, you have the kid that's coming from the right home. They have that structure, but somehow they befriend this person that's coming from a negative neighborhood, or a negative area, and now I'm seeing how my friend is, and I'm young, so I don't know no better. My parents told me, love everybody. Yeah. And we grew up as 3rd, 4th graders. We were cool, went to the same elementary school, and then as we got older, I'm still hanging around them. So now I have to identify who I want to be. Do I want to be like him because I've known him since I was in 3rd grade, or do I want to remain the person that I am, stay true to myself, and let them laugh at me because I'm not acting like them? So it's just one of those things where now you got these young boys they really battling who they want to be because they do know right from wrong, but I just want to be with my boys at the same time. When my boys go, they're going to try to, hey man, come hang with me, come hit this vape, come in the bathroom, whatever the case may be. You got, and I think that's part of the identity crisis. But I think I just go back at the house. I mean, if you're doing what you're supposed to do, then you're gonna monitor. Because I remember my mom, bro, she's trying, you don't need to hang with such and such. And that made me, when she said that, bro, I'm not gonna lie, that made me want to hang with them even more, because it's like, how are you gonna tell me who I'm gonna hang with? But also at the same time, I think as I got older, and I think that our dad played a great role, a big part in that aspect, because they allowed us, they gave us the autonomy to hang with who we wanted to hang with, but they made sure that we was going to be accountable. And I think that's what's happening at home, like with some of the kids. They're not held accountable. They don't have that person that's going to say, okay, if you fight, even if somebody did mess with you, you're still going to be held accountable. Nah, you fight, that's what you were supposed to do. He touched. Nah, they still got to be able to be held accountable at some point. And I think that's the issue that's going on now. So
yeah, I think we got to the point too, and even I myself, I had to get used to this. Again, when we grow up, you do as I say. We got to a generation where that's going out the way, and I truly believe that because once upon a time, we didn't have the resources like these kids had. So our information went to the knowledge of our parents. If we wanted to know a question, we went and asked our parents. the answer. Whatever they said was golden. These kids skip the middleman. They go straight to the internet, chat GBT, and they can get any. So they don't need the middleman. They don't need the parents. I can go figure it out myself. I think it's the same thing with the school. Just like in the college curriculum, when you go to college, you sit down with a person and they tell you, okay, this is where you're at. Where do you want to go? This is where you're at, and this is how they show you the steps to how you get there. We have to do that with education now. These kids can't just go sit in a classroom just because somebody said they're supposed to be here. How? When I can go home and I see little man getting $2 million on YouTube, on streaming and having fun, and you want me to come sit here, it doesn't calculate. It doesn't make sense. So we literally have to show these kids career paths, like plans, like this is what you sitting down in this seat today. This is where this is taking you. If they don't see that, then they're not in it. They don't want to, and it's over with. You don't have their attention. The only way you get their chance, you show them what they get out of it. So we can't just say, because I said so anymore. That's over with. This is a new world. Wake up. This is over with. You can't tell a kid this is why they're supposed to be doing something. You have to literally draw a plan out for them and show them this is what they're going to get out of it to get the most out of these kids. And we got to be aware of that, man. The times are shifting. We can't be doing old dog. What is it? You can't treat. No, that ain't teach an old dog to trick. That ain't the one I was thinking about. But yeah, it went. Anywho, y'all get what I'm saying. But for you, Jizzle, what is one moment or interaction with a family, with a mentee, that hit you like this is why I'm here. This is why God called me to do this work.
Honestly, I'm gonna say I have a fourth grader at Oakcrest, real quiet kid, real, they would call him quirky. He don't fit the norm. He's not an athlete or nothing like that. And, every time I take him out to go talk to him at the playground or whatever, he always in good spirits, even though he telling me about all his classmates call him gay and stuff like that, because he not normal. He always reinforces that I know who I am, Mr. KJ, and every time I drop him back out the class, he gives me the biggest hug. And I think, just for me to give him that positive reinforcement that, no matter what your peers think of you, as long as you know who you are, that really helps him go throughout his day to ignore them. And shout out to him. That's my moment there.
Okay. Give me another. I know you got another.
Oh, snap. I got a young man, seventh grader. He struggles with reading and writing. And I've been across Ocala looking for this man to tutor. He actually comes to our after school program as well. But, he was a little burnt out with KD. And, I just had to, I had to meet him where he was. So I had to, tell him like, it's not a problem that you're burnt out with KD, but if you're not going to be coming here, we need to find something for you to be better and get better at, your struggles and your deficiencies. And so today, talked about it. He won't be coming to after school no more. He'll be going to the public library to get tutored. And I feel like that's just a win in my book.
Round of applause for Jizzle. W's in the chat for Jizzle. W's in the chat for Jizzle. One key thing about this, and I think this is what separates us from other mentorship. When you think of mentorship, you're thinking about saving a kid. Like you're going to save him. But we're not saving these kids. We're showing them how to save themselves. You get what I'm saying? We're putting kids in a position that show them that you have the power over your life. You have the power to dictate how your future goes. And that's the successful part of this, because through the exposure, through the education, we're empowering in a person. We're not showing them to be dependent on us. We're showing them to be dependent on themselves. And that's going to help them be the one that's going to show their chill. And now you just create a whole group of young people that understand that I owe myself. Like I owe it to me to be great, and I can do for self. I can dictate how my life goes. And I think that's the power of what we do. So when you think of this world, the world that we live in, I don't think it's showing that. It's not showing that, you know what I mean? It's not showing a person that they have power. If you look at a commercial, it's telling you to be dependent over these certain things. When you're talking to a young person and you're, or if a young person was watching this and you had to be empowered them, what does that look like for you? Empowering a young person to be great. How does that look for Jizzle?
Well, obviously a little deeper because, I had to take that time to really get to know them and really truly understand what they really want. But, you know, I just tell them how it is, man. You know, like, it might look good behind that screen, man, but, like, the real world gonna hit you. And, you know, you either you got that fight or flight feel, man. You either gonna run towards it, because basically I can speak from my experiences as a 25-year-old man, and I'm not too far off from them.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I can be real relatable as to what's coming for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because from 18 to 25 felt like a fever dream. It just blew by.
For sure.
So I feel like that relatability and being like, I be on my phone with the boys showing them what music I be listening to and all. Like, I feel like they realize, like, hey, he ain't too much older than us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he really is talking real game. So I think that's really it. The experiences that I've been through, you know, I kind of related to them and try to build them up through that, and just try to open their eyes to things that are going to be coming for them, and just try to meet them right there.
That's dope. One thing I learned about this work, you get into it thinking that you're what you are pouring into somebody else, but then you figure out they pouring into you as well. You figure out through this process that these young people are showing me more about myself than I'm showing them about them, and they don't understand it. They're coming here for me or for my mentorship, but they don't understand that I'm leaving feeling more equipped because of working with them. For yourself, how do you think this role has impacted you? Working in this role,
it's actually conflicting, man, because, you know, it's really conflicting, man, because I honestly, I talked to Mr. Roy about this at Liberty one time. You know, I'm pouring into these kids to chase their dreams and stuff, but I was kind of like, not saying I was settling, but I kind of was just like, I'm done with my dreams. Like, I'm just gonna be where my feet are, right here in Ocala.
Mm-hmm.
But so that was literally conflicting, because I love working for KD, and I love pouring into the kids and telling them go chase everything you want. But was I doing that? You know, so it's a little conflicting, but yeah, that's.
No, and that's good stuff. Even to go deeper into that, and, you know, to leave that alone, because that's a real thing. In with the idea that you say that, where did you leave off? Like, how do you feel now about what the concept of what you just brought up?
Well, I'm a father now, so, you know, I feel like it's bigger than me at this point. You know, I have my time. You know, it's nothing wrong with being a good college football player. My old ball coach used to tell me that all the time. You know, my son can get on YouTube and see his dad highlights. You know, and I'm content with that.
Yeah.
You know, but I want to, you know, I want to leave my mark here in Ocala, and I want to be here for my boy, and I want to be a good image for him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy where I'm at.
Nah, for sure. So that's like, even when you send the picture in the group chat last night about, you know, and I think about that all the time. You know, it'd be crazy. People be like, Mr. He played football? And then the kids will be like, yeah, he did. They'll bring up the pictures or whatever. But it's because of all of us, we all want to go to the league, you feel me? But that just wasn't what God had for us. But I know, I guarantee you, more time than none, when you come across most young men, even if they probably not as good in their mind, they want to play football because they really don't have a true idea of where they want to go. They're going to say some kind of sports, and if they say football, that's going to be your way to connect with them. And for me, what I found out is that's a way to meet them where they are, because now I'm able to build that relationship with that rapport with them in that moment. And then, you know, even with my son, so there are times now when he see the same thing, you know, he hear about football, he asking about, it's across the board, he asks about his uncles, he asks about that, you know what I'm saying? So now he has an expectation that he wants to live up to. So when you build a relationship with the boys, I think that's what, like, a lot of times when you know, they'd be like, Mr. A, I almost seem like I'm everybody's dad most of the time, but it's because the relationship that I've allowed myself or allowed us to build to where now they can feel, I'm trying to say how to put it. They probably do love me. They say they do, but you know what I'm saying, to the point where they feel like they love me, to where now I can say certain things to them, or they can go and like, man, look at Mr. Eddie, as if my son can really say, this is my dad. They may be able to do the same thing with their teachers or one of their friends. Like, man, check out my mentor. Look what he did. So now they're able to throw you out there like you one of their heroes, and you don't even be knowing it, you know. So I think as I started doing it more and more, that's what started setting in, to where it's not about the football. It's not about, you know, anything like that now. It's now, what can we build now? What are we going to build now? For them to take pride in what we're doing right now in this moment, in this day and age, that they can be a part of, that they can go and say, hey, look, I was with them too. You know what I'm saying? And I think for me, it may help you, but I know for me, that's how I started. Like, I bet this is where I need to be at, because now we working with something that the kids can say they played a part into. That's one of the biggest things. The kids want to be able to have a say. It's crazy. That's when you sit down with Miss Consuelo every day. I mean, anytime she talk, the thing that these kids want nowadays is to have they want to have a voice. And you take that voice from them, you're not gonna get anything out of them, because they're gonna shut down.
Yeah. And one thing I'm thinking about as we're talking, so Jizzle, you started off saying, you know what I mean, how you're a new father. You don't mention being a dad multiple times. You know, I'm stepping into fatherhood. But when we think about the work that we do, we understand that there's a group of young people that don't have that. They go home every day and they lack that. And that's one of the hardest things I ever had to deal with. I had to think about, like, these young men that we serve, they would never know what it feels, that love I felt from my dad. I think I had the best dad in the world, but they would never know what that feels like, or they don't. I should say never, hopefully they can, but they don't know what that feels like. For you all, both of you can answer this question. What do you think about our community when it comes just to having that lack of male representation? Because even sometimes for myself, and you know, you have coaches and different things, and I have conflicted feelings about that thing, because even some of the coaches in our community, when I get on social media and see what they post and what they're saying, it's like, dude, even the ones that in a position, are they equipped to do it? And so talk me through that portion of that lack of just that male representation. Like, why? You know what I mean? Why are we here? Why are we dealing with this, fellas?
So I was having a conversation this morning, just talking about. So I was talking about Kut cutting the grass and being able to show him we could. So because I was saying, like, with us, so we're across the states, we're doing certain things for our family. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna alleviate. We want to leave it better for them than we have for ourselves. But at the end of the day, like I told them for my son, like, okay, I could easily pay somebody $100 come cut the grass. Hey, son, this is how you do it. You go make the money, you pay somebody to come cut the grass, you ain't got to touch it. But what am I actually teaching them? You know what I'm saying? What kind of skills, what is he learning in that moment to know that he can pay somebody $100 to come cut the grass that he could cut? The work ethic is not there. So I rather cut the grass so he sees me cutting the grass, and then now he's in the backyard cutting the grass. Now he's learning how to do the same thing that he can go pay somebody to do. Yeah. And when you have a community that takes out that middle piece there, or showing you the work ethic, the skill set, the mannerisms, the behaviors of how to be a man, then that's why you have the community the way that it is now. And that's sad. So that's like you say, you know, in comparison to the reading, and when I hear about, you know, the statistic that you read, those are two in the same, because it's like our community is we're behind in our community because these young men do not have fathers, and it's not their fault. They came in this world, they didn't ask to be here, but then now they're presented with this obstacle, this piece of life that now they have to learn how to navigate, and that can be crazy for, again, a 14-year-old trying to figure out, do I want to go this way or do I want to go that way? So now, like you say, so for me as a mentor, that's why I said, as the father figure, like a lot of the boys, they said, you know, I get off the phone with some of them, the Garrett leaving school late, Mr. Eddie, and I make sure that I say it back, because at some point, again, if I'm able to build that relationship with them, then I know it may not be all the way across the board, but there's a few of them that are really set in on them, and it may make them move in a different manner, whereas opposed to they didn't have a male role model in their life at all.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. What you think, Jill? You got something on that?
Yeah, I think we don't really care. We don't really think about the generational effect that we have when we don't pour into the younger kids. I think that on the opposite side, you know, like the opposite skin color, it's all about family and making sure that my family is better off. Like, it's like clear cut. I got homeboys who they're getting farms now that have been passed on for years and years and years and years. It's like, why can't we have that too? You know, why aren't Black businesses being passed down to their kids and stuff like that? You know, little stuff like that. And I also think that, you know, we're just like, we don't want to take that extra step. Yeah. Like, just for your example, my dad did the same thing. He out there push mowing. Hey, when I got old enough, that's where I was out there push mowing. Yeah. You know, he taught me how to do it, which pattern And I went and did the same thing, been cutting the yard the same way for about 10, 15 years. You know, it's just all about having a good example. But every example, not a good example, as you were saying to the youth football coaches out here.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about them at that point. You know, you taking away the fun of the game. Like y'all have bets and side bets, and it ain't ball no more. Like, wait till them boys get to high school, college before you turn it into a business. Let it be fun. You know, I just think our priorities as a community are just so far off. Everybody just trying to make a quick buck. We ain't thinking long term and how that affects our generation and the Black people in our community.
Yeah, boy, that's a conversation. Oh, another podcast right there. We got to get into that one. So,
But I'm sorry, because even to say that, because and y'all both alluded to those coaches. So again, we know how many boys we touch on a day-to-day basis. That's why I think when we talk about social media, we talk about the way that we carry ourselves. It's always like we want to. It's not just about my son and my daughters or my household. It's about, okay, if I make a bad decision, these other young men that I came across, that's going to affect them, you know, in a drastic way. So when you look at these coaches that you got these kids that's 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, they're soaking up all this energy and soaking up all this knowledge and this language and these attitudes and behaviors from y'all. And then what you think when they leave you? What are they gonna go back and do? And when they're in their household, if you're not there, what are they gonna go to the schools and do? So again, that lack of having that positive role model, again, it's just sad when you see that these men, to me, is almost taking advantage of the boys, because now you're putting bad habits and intentions in these kids at a young age, and then when they act out, we got to be upset with them. But they only learned it from the people that's supposed to be like these NFL type people, you know, all-star type of people, you know. So,
and it's one-sided. I think the only time since my tenure of 5 years of being here with Kut Different, when we just, you know, keeping up with the athletic thing, there's one young man that I heard, and at that time he was with Ocala Thunder, and he was like, his coaches held them accountable or something about his grades, and he came to me and said, because I was asking about the grade, he's like, no, I don't play that, my coach don't play that. But that was like the only time I ever heard that. But that's the type of impact you give us to have. It can't be one side. I always said youth organizations still should have the same criteria as when you get to high school. We wait till a kid gets to high school to now say you can't play if your grades, but my grades been messed up since I was in kindergarten.
What you mean?
And now I get to high school, now I can't play. Y'all let me get this far, and now y'all trying to put it. So we got to look at ourselves, man. Again, I think a child is a block of clay, and we can mold them into who we want them to be. But if we create a society, we create an environment that allows them to seek through the cracks to get by, and to not face the consequences for their actions, then they're gonna keep doing that until bam, jail, bam, dead, bam. Now we looking crazy. Now we have memorials. Now everybody crying. But we could have got in front of that problem because we seen that little Johnny had 5 referrals the first quarter of school and 20 by the time he got out of elementary school. We seen all that. But again, we kept allowing little Johnny to keep progressing up and keep going by because that's just what this broken system allows. You get what I'm saying? So we had to fix the system. It's a bigger picture, even what you went back to and what you alluded to with the black stuff. That's a whole deeper thing. We can go to redlining, to systematic stuff that took place that's, and no excuses now, because I hold people accountable. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of stuff we do now that is because of us. We are our own problem. I say that right now to the black community. We are our own problem. But back to what you saying, that's a whole... It's a systematic stuff that's put us in this position. But yeah, man, great conversation, fellas. You know, before I get myself in the roots, now I just play. But one thing I do want to say, there's 2 statistics that I wanted to say earlier, but the conversation didn't allow. But even thinking about mentorship, this thing says students who feel connected to adults at school are 2 times more likely to thrive academically and emotionally. So students who are feel connected to adults at school, so at school, where their feet at, on campus, are 2 times more likely to thrive academically and emotionally. So thinking about the work every day that you're going to do in that school, you are giving that mentee 2 times more of a chance to be successful just by your presence being there and them being connected to you. So that's a huge statistic. The next one is, youth with mentors are 130% more likely to hold leadership positions and 55% more likely to enroll in college. I'm not crazy about the college thing, but if you think about 130% more likely to hold a leadership position just by having a mentor. So I say all this to say, you think about the work we do, sometimes it can be draining. Sometimes it can feel like, man, this is a lot. It can feel like an overload. And when you ask yourself why, some of those statistics that I read are the reason why we do what we do, are the reason we're in the position that we are. And we have to understand that a shift is happening, bro. A shift that's happening right now. The work we are doing, bro, is going to change the dynamic of Ocala, and it's going to change the dynamic of the world. We're building a catalyst. We're building a model that's going to be able to be implemented in each city around this world, that's going to show what it takes for a young person to be successful. These young men that we deal with, the knuckleheads, all of them, they still, at the level of their knuckleheadness, they're going to be successful at some sort. We're giving too much information for this not to click. Now, I'm not saying everybody, but majority of them, it's going to click sooner or later. They're getting too much. That wall that we hit when we got 20 something and we trying to figure out, we're feeding too much information to them for them not to hit it earlier. You get what I'm saying? It took me to be 23 to look around when football was going like, what now? We giving too much information. We turned even the most football ones into saying, I don't even know if I want to play football no more.
Yeah.
We would have never, what else we going to do? We would have never said that, because what else we going to do? This is our only option. You know what I mean? We giving these kids options to where they even saying, I don't want to do that. No, I can go do something else. So always, man, stay committed, stay energized, stay enthused, and just keeping this work up. And I don't know, I'm gonna close it with a question. I don't know if y'all got anything before I close it off. You got anything, Roster? Oh, good. All right, Jizzle, I got a final question for you to close it up. All right. If you could talk to every young man who feels like giving up right now, what would you tell them?
Oh man, I would say, dang, I feel like I live by this quote, man. I said it on the first pod. Sunny days wouldn't be special if it wasn't for the rain. Yeah. I still live by it today. Yeah. I just think, we've been having a lot of conversations about this, but, it's gonna clear up for you, man. Tough times don't last, I just say keep going, being focused, keep putting your energy into stuff that really matter. Like, take a step back from the social media, take a step back from stuff like that, and just look yourself in the mirror and really identify who you are and what you want to be, because this life moves really fast. Like, you really just need to hone in on what you want to be and go after it with, nonstop. Trust the process at the end of the day, but really pour into yourself, really think about it, really self-reflect, and just have that moment of thinking about what you want to be and just going for it. I really just, truly, it's a lot, man. Honestly, honestly, man, it's really a lot, because I'm really in that space too myself, where it's like I'm still trying to figure it out. So I'm still trying to figure out my niche in this life. It's not hard. I mean, it's not easy. Yeah. I battle stuff every day, and it's gonna be rough. You just gotta keep persevering.
Yeah, life is life, but the standard is the standard. That's what boy Peasy Price said. But to your point, man, it's a journey. It's a journey that we're on, and we all have to endure the ups and the downs. You know what I mean? With the sunny days, like you say, comes the rain, and you can't get one without the other. And through the journey, just stay encouraged. Know that God put you here for a reason, and take pride in the journey. You know what I mean? The beauty is, it's a beautiful thing. Even in a down, knowing that you can be up tomorrow. You know what I mean? If you're just down and I can't, but knowing that I can be up tomorrow, it's another day. I'm still alive, man. It's a lot of beauty in that. I take even when I get in tough spots, I think about people we lost. One of my closest friends, Quinyon Berry, thinking that he lost his life at a young age, and even obviously Poop. You know what I mean? There's certain people I think Kut was one of the greatest humans I ever met. What did he deserve to meet, the fate that he did? And I'm still here. And how can I be, treat any day like it's not a positive or not a good day. So to your point, man, yeah, life on life, just keep on. The standard is the standard. So appreciate everybody for watching, man. Stop what you're doing, like, subscribe, and comment. All right. like, subscribe, and comment. All right, we're going to get us an email. Javi already told me we're going to make us a Gmail, EL2A. We're going to find one, and then we're going to be able to interact with you all. We're going to start giving out some gifts. You see these beautiful hats, all the luxury stuff we got. We're going to start raffling off some stuff to our subscribers, to our families, EL2A family that keep watching, man. We appreciate y'all. And I want y'all to know, man, I greatly appreciate those. For any person that takes time out their day to click that link and come to these videos, it means the world to me and to us, because I understand what life throws at you. You could be watching Power, you can be watching a basketball game, you could be watching, baddies, you could be watching baddies, you could be watching all this, but you're choosing to come to this. And when you click that link, you click this link understanding that I'm going to get educated. Like there's no baddie material coming on over here. I'm a baddie though, but but there's no, you coming over here to get educated. So y'all, you just, it means a lot. So keep it going. That's how we shift the dynamic. That's how we shift the energy of our community. That's how we make change. If you're in there watching the EL2A podcast and your kid come in there and they see you in there trying to educate yourself, what they gonna want to do? They may stand in there and come in the living room and watch it with you. So it means the world to us. So stop what you're doing, like, subscribe, and comment. All right, July 25th is our summer banquet. All right, make sure that you're in the house. All right, Church of Hope, 7 p.m. July the 25th. Make sure you're there, man. It's gonna be a night of excellence. All right, if you've never seen excellence before, this is your night to come witness it. All right, July 25th. We're gonna have a great time, and yeah. I think that's pretty much it. Is that all we got? Like, subscribe, banquet, summer. I think that's everything. And people, Rory and Ivy back there shaking their head, so I guess I need to be quiet. All right, but great episode, fellas, man. Powerful. This is another Kut Different episode for the month of May. All right, man. Well, appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all next time.
Team on 3.
Peace.